Makoto pedaled furiously down the steep hill, her bicycle gaining dangerous speed. A woman with her young child stepped into the road ahead. Heart-pounding, Makoto squeezed the brake lever. Nothing happened. The brakes had completely failed. Terror gripped her as she desperately dragged her feet against the pavement, but momentum carried her straight toward the railway crossing. The inevitable collision with the safety barrier launched her body through the air. At that precise moment, an approaching train bore down on her. Yet impossibly, she remained uninjured. Opening her eyes in confusion, she discovered she had merely bumped into the mother and child from moments before. After quickly apologizing, she turned to see something extraordinary. Time had reversed by 2.5 minutes. The same train was crossing again. At home, the experience haunted her thoughts. Determined to understand what happened, she decided to experiment. Climbing toward her bedroom window, she prepared to jump. But this time, only a severe headache followed her impact. No time reversal occurred. Her younger sister, Yuki, burst in, pulling her back from the window ledge while apologizing for eating her dessert pudding. Nothing made sense. Seeking clarity, Makoto wandered to the nearby river. Standing at the water's edge, sudden understanding struck her. She sprinted forward and dove into the flowing water. Instantly, she materialized back inside her house. Opening the refrigerator, she found Yuki's previously consumed pudding intact. When her family returned home and Yuki reached for the dessert, Makoto shouted to stop her. By the time everyone looked, Makoto had vanished, reappearing at the riverbank where a child remarked that she had just disappeared. The truth finally dawned. She possessed genuine time-traveling abilities. Yet until that transformative day, she'd been nothing more than an ordinary high school student. That morning began, typically, oversleeping and rushing to class for a surprise examination. Despite recognizing every individual word, their combined meaning eluded her completely. Her final score, a dismal 9 points. During cooking class, her characteristic clumsiness ignited a small fire, earning mockery from classmates who dubbed her airhead. At club practice, a running teammate accidentally knocked her over. Later, while submitting her laboratory assignment, she noticed a strange glowing walnut on the floor. As she reached for it, a sudden sound startled her, causing her to fall and strike the mysterious object with her elbow. In that instant, Makoto felt herself plunging through a temporal vortex. Her body tumbled endlessly downward while bizarre visions flashed before her eyes. Those few seconds seemed to span entire centuries. When consciousness returned, she remained in the same laboratory, believing the entire experience was mere hallucination. Walking to baseball practice, she described the incident to her 2 closest friends. They responded with nothing but cruel laughter. The day following her successful river leap, Makoto walked to school with pure elation. Any previous mistake could now be corrected through time travel. She completed the quiz first, achieving a perfect score. During cooking class, she convinced another student to handle her work, who proved equally clumsy, not only starting another fire but dousing the entire classroom with extinguisher foam. At club activities, Makoto preemptively ducked backward, perfectly avoiding the collision. This time, she even received praise from everyone. When karaoke proved unsatisfying, she repeatedly leaped backward within the booth, enjoying unlimited food and drinks for a single payment. This newfound power made life incredibly comfortable. She never considered potential consequences, carelessly jumping through time for the most trivial reasons, until her aunt warned, "While you enjoy time-leaping benefits, someone else might suffer because of your actions." Makoto dismissed this concern. If anyone got hurt, she could always leap back and change the outcome. She remained unaware that her leaps were numbered, destined to eventually run out. Her peaceful existence shattered abruptly one afternoon. After school, the trio planned their usual baseball game. 3 younger girls approached, with one named Keiho confessing her feelings to Kosuka. He gently declined, explaining he already liked someone else. When Chiaki heard this, he mistakenly assumed Kosuka meant Makoto. At dusk, they reached their customary parting intersection. Chiaki offered to escort Makoto home. The setting sun created dancing shadows while the water's surface shimmered golden. Accompanied by evening breezes, Chiaki confessed his feelings. His words left Makoto completely bewildered. Unable to face this situation, she instinctively leaped back to the intersection. Looking at Chiaki's bicycle seat, she hesitated before climbing on. She attempted changing the subject before his confession, but every attempt failed. Chiaki always spoke first. After several unsuccessful leaps, she surrendered and went home alone. From that day forward, Makoto behaved strangely, deliberately avoiding Chiaki. Whether in classrooms or hallways, spotting him sent her in the opposite direction. Despite her time-leaping abilities, the guilt when facing Chiaki never disappeared. As she continued avoiding him, their mutual friend Yuri grew closer to Chiaki. When Yuri got injured and Chiaki visited the infirmary, he completely ignored Makoto's presence there. This left her feeling bitter. During a baseball game, she discovered Chiaki planned to date Yuri. The news shocked her completely. How could someone who claimed to like her so easily pursue another girl? While showering, Makoto noticed a strange mark on her arm that wouldn't wash away. Additionally, Keiho had begun focusing attention on her. With Chiaki stepping away from their trio, only Makoto and Kosuka remained together, causing the younger girls to mistake them for a couple. To clear this misunderstanding, Makoto decided to leap back and arrange a match between Kosuka and Keiho. She returned to Keiho's original confession day and stepped forward praising Keiho's qualities. But she forgot that Keiho didn't know her yet, allowing Kosuka to escape while Keiho considered Makoto some kind of weirdo. Seeing her failure, Makoto leaped back again, but too early this time. Keiho hadn't confessed yet, and Makoto accidentally revealed it first. Keiho's face turned crimson as she fled in embarrassment. With no alternatives, Makoto leaped even further back to the quiz day. During club activities, she hurriedly told the student under the tree to leave, positioning Keiho there instead. She then dragged Kosuke to the designated spot and pushed him toward Keiho, creating an accidental meeting. In the process, Keiho sprained her ankle, forcing Kosuke to carry her to the infirmary. Watching them depart, Makoto felt accomplished. But her pride vanished when she noticed the numbers on her arm had changed. Leaning closer for examination, terror overwhelmed her. To understand the number's meaning, she rushed to the original laboratory. Upon arrival, Kosuke texted that Keiho had confessed again en route. Before relief could set in, another text froze her. Kosuke was riding her bicycle, taking Keiho to the hospital. Makoto suddenly realized they must cross the railroad tracks to reach the hospital, and the crossing gate was currently broken. Fear consumed her completely. Cold sweat streaming down her face, she bolted from the building, frantically searching campus for Kosuke. Classmates informed her they had already departed. Meanwhile, Kosuke called his father, asking if their family clinic could treat sprains, explaining why Makoto's calls met busy signals. Panicking, she decided to take a shortcut and intercept them. En route, she considered leaping back, but worried it might be a false alarm, wasting the chance to unite Kosuke and Keiho. Makoto sprinted to the railroad crossing. Seeing the train had passed safely, she sighed with relief and started walking back. During her return journey, she called Chiaki, announcing her successful matchmaking. But Chiaki half-jokingly asked, "Do you possess time-leaping abilities?" That single question made her break out in cold sweat, nerves as tense as during his original confession. Uncontrollably, she leaped back to before answering the call, quickly interrupting Chiaki before he could ask. While pondering this, she remembered the arm numbers, now reading 0. She finally understood. The number represented her remaining leaps. Just as Makoto felt relieved about Kosuke and Keiho's safety, Kosuke suddenly passed by her. His earlier phone call had delayed him, so he reached the crossing later than expected. Instant panic struck her. Spinning around, she screamed for Kosuke to stop. Despite her desperate shouts, his bicycle with Keiho riding behind was already speeding downhill. The clock approached 4 o'clock. The train would arrive punctually. Kosuke's bicycle lost control. His flying shoe tripped Makoto, sending her tumbling down the slope. As 4 o'clock chimed, Kosuke and Keiho crashed through the railway gate. Tragedy seemed inevitable. Makoto could only scream in despair. But in the next instant, time suddenly froze. Everything around her became motionless. However, Makoto hadn't stopped it. Chiaki had. The truth was that Chiaki came from the future. In his time, humanity had invented machines enabling free time travel. That walnut was actually a miniaturized time-leaping device. Chiaki had traveled to the past solely to view a certain painting in an art museum, because in the future, that painting no longer existed. But he accidentally lost the device, which Makoto happened to discover. That was how she gained her abilities. When Chiaki finally relocated the device, its energy was depleted. The time freeze just now was his final possible leap. They walked to a busy intersection where Chiaki explained that violating future time travel regulations meant he must return immediately and could never come back. But more than his departure, he regretted breaking their promises. No more baseball games, no more karaoke sessions. After speaking, Chiaki waved goodbye, his figure slowly fading into the crowd. Makoto stood frozen while tears streamed helplessly down her cheeks. In the next moment, the frozen people resumed moving. Time flowed again. She rushed forward in pursuit, but Chiaki had vanished from the street's end. Back in the classroom, rumors circulated about Chiaki's sudden departure from school. Makoto could only sit silently, staring at his empty desk. Only then did she realize she had loved him all along. She also understood why seeing Chiaki with Yuri had hurt so deeply. But by the time she realized it, it was too late. Missing Chiaki desperately, she climbed to the school building's rooftop, wanting to leap through time. But she had exhausted all her leaps. No chances remained. She could only collapse on the rooftop, crying her heart out in despair. In that moment, she deeply regretted wasting leaps on trivial matters. Returning home, Makoto remained drowning in sorrow. Suddenly, a ladybug crawled into her sleeve. Instinctively glancing at her arm, she saw the number had changed from 0 to 1. She suddenly realized, when Chiaki froze and rewound time, he had secretly returned 1 leap to her. She thought if she used this chance wisely, maybe she could prevent Chiaki's permanent departure. Immediately running outside, she leaped once more, plunging again into the time tunnel. Memories of baseball, karaoke, and laughter with her 2 friends flashed across her vision. That friendship slowly soothed her fear and illuminated her confusion. Opening her eyes again, she was back in a laboratory, finding the now-depleted time device. Seeing Yuri, she honestly confessed her feelings for Chiaki. Seeing Kosuke, she directly urged him to invite Keiho to join their baseball games. Then she ran straight toward Chiaki's usual location. Makoto ignored stranger stares, let sweat soak her clothes, and refused to stop regardless of obstacles. She ran with everything she had, just to see Chiaki sooner. Finally, she found him again. Afterward, they went to the riverbank, watching the calm water and reminiscing about all their happy shared moments. When goodbye time arrived, Chiaki offered everyday reminders, but never spoke the words Makoto longed to hear, his confession. She felt slightly disappointed, but still urged Chiaki to return to the future quickly, knowing this was already the best possible ending. Yet as she watched him walk away, she couldn't help crying. But then, Chiaki suddenly turned around and ran back. Looking directly at Makoto, he said seriously, "I'll be waiting for you in the future." Makoto's time-traveling adventure finally concluded with that promise. "I'll be waiting for you in the future." She once believed time travel could erase all regrets. But through each leap, she came to understand, life is not an exam you can continuously rewrite. Those clumsy mistakes, those panicked heartbeats, those sudden farewells, are all lessons we must experience. Chiaki's departure and his words, "I'll be waiting for you in the future," reminded her of one truth. There is no returning in life. Only by carrying our experiences and courage Living each moment earnestly, can we ensure our future selves will never regret the effort we give today?